Think about it. Now, I know everybody's all melancholy now because, you know, that's good. Listen, we shouldn't dislike or hate anybody else.
Yeah.
But what we may have done by integrating at least too soon, we may have fallen into the ice cream vat before we understood what a well-balanced meal was like. Think about it. We may have fallen into the cookie dough batch before we understood what a well-balanced meal with some greens and other things was.
Yeah.
It's like giving a child a diet of chips and pop before they understand what the greens and the cornbread and the rice is like.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, you know, we had to know the importance of us working together on our own.
Yes.
Together on our own. It
We
sounds
gotta be solid with us
right
before
yeah.
we go and hang out with somebody else.
Even though it's okay that we need to experience other cultures and other people, but we need to figure out how we work together strongly.
Absolutely.
As a strong unit.
Okay, or like Christina, it's like seeing somebody that's in business or knowing that they're in business and they want to be in business, they want to do their thing, they want to accomplish some great things, right? And right as they're working on accomplishing those things, they go and try to do a whole business deal with somebody who has already accomplished those things. It's not likely to be good parity there. You know, you could have made a good face on it, but in reality, when it starts to working together, there are going to be some things you're going to have to make up some ground. And nobody wants to be whole dealing with somebody who is not trying to go to the same direction.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's marriage, I don't care what it is. You can make it up, we wish you well, but nobody wants to partner with somebody who they ain't fully baked.
Yeah.
Half baked.
But I feel like
And I want to make sure I let it be known, y'all, this conversation is not against any race. It's not. I don't think any family should coalesce and work in with another family until your family is together. I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying?
But that's also like saying, you know, like the limitations that we have just based on lack of exposure. And if you aren't exposed to things, then you're just limited by what you know. And so, I don't know, exposure is important because it allows you to see other pathways. Just like a great example is with the mortgage situation that you were in. You know, it was you going to that place where the people did not look like you.
Yes.
But they were open to educating you and allowing you to kind of take the reins of it and grow it within your community. So I think it's an argument on both sides.
Well, no, let's use that one. So let's say we are segregated as a people, and you know, inside of that segregation, it doesn't mean that we didn't own businesses.
Right.
It doesn't mean that we didn't get education. It didn't mean that we didn't travel abroad. It didn't mean that we didn't get exposure. But as we got exposure, if we are whole with each other, when one goes out and gets a piece of exposure, they bring it back to the group so that the group now can benefit, and we're still benefiting and growing our stuff and doing just like the Jewish people did in this country, right? So what I did when I got that information, I didn't go and get all I could, get all I can, and then can all I got and then sit on the can. What I did is I went and got it and brought it back to the community so we all could benefit.
Exactly.
We don't have that basic sense out here. Think about it. Think of all the black folks that are in position right now that are holding their bowels like they got what's called when you got stuck bowels.
Oh, constipation.
When you they constipated because they just don't want to share what they got with somebody else.
Yeah.
Black folks doing that. That's because we haven't learned how to work together. We don't know that. And then those in the past who did work together, well, right? Somehow that disconnection happened. Yes, some of that was done by the government through their systems and whatnot, but a lot of it was done because when we got a taste of a new taste, we said, I want this taste for myself.
Yeah.
And we start becoming selfish.
Well, and I think too is when you're an oppressed people, you know, we continue to be oppressed. We are not the ones who have the economic control. So when we get a little bit of control, like we run with it and we hold on to it until it's time to go to the grave. We don't know how to pass it off. We don't, you know, cultivate the generations under us to
Mhm.
continue on what
Right.
people learn. And so
Right.
it dies with you.
Right.
It's a lot of layers to it. It's unfortunate.
And we need to learn these things within ourselves, or we're going to keep missing the boat. For instance, T.Y. and I talked during this week, or maybe it was last Sunday, about all the people that were saying that some of the people that were not in support of Mayor-elect Brandon
Okay.
Johnson were sellouts. Right,
Okay.
and what I did, and they have a whole poster of the people that they consider to be
Interesting.
sellouts, and I was teaching on the air last week. Ty, remember that?
Yeah.
I was teaching that. Listen, you got to be very careful in politics, especially when you call people sellouts. Number one, politics is not a sport like that. Politics makes for strange bedfellows. That saying is true, and that who you're calling a sellout today have been the politician or the person supporting a different candidate who actually did legislation that supported you last week. That could be changing today, you know. And sure enough, within 1 week after I said that, Brandon Johnson announced his transition committee, and some of the same people that voted Dick Durbin,
Yeah.
who actually went with Paul Vallis, is actually on. He picked Dick Durbin.
Yeah.
So do you see what that's proving my point?
Yeah.
So we gotta watch in politics who you're calling a sellout, because trust me, politics don't work like that. Because before you know it, you're gonna be calling Brandon Johnson a sellout under the same rules that you set up for yourself, because he's not going to do what you think he's going to do like you want him to do, because he's got to take care of the money that got him in that seat. And if you look at his transition team with the people he put on there, they are all the people that gave him the money, period. Who you got on the live line, my brother?
Brian.
Hey Brian, what's happening?